Call the Boxborough Finance Committee meeting to order. We are partially remote, so we need to do a roll call attendance. So I'll start with Michelle. Can you state your name and present? Michelle. Michelle, can you hear me?
No, she can't.
She
And
cannot.
we can't hear her.
I can hear you.
Oh, now we can hear you.
Okay, can you state your name and present, Michelle, just for the
Yeah,
record?
Ryan present.
Okay.
Grevin present.
Stolpen present.
Nealand present.
Connor present.
And Newton present. Okay, and we also have here Gary Kushner and Susan Back from Boxborough News. I believe that Honghua and Rajon, Rajon's online as well, yeah. And we have John Markiewicz as well. And I think Honghua is going to be calling in as well for any questions we have. Okay, so...
And John Markowitz is on.
Yeah. So first topic is minutes of December the 16th. Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, comments, edits? Okay, roll call vote to approve the minutes. Michelle?
Ryan, I.
Grevin, aye.
Stolpen, aye.
Nealand, aye.
Connor, aye.
Newton, aye. Okay, citizens' concerns. I've received a citizen's concern about tax bills. I was hoping, Hongwa's online now.
Yep, she just got on.
Yeah, so I heard that some residents have received notices of unpaid taxes and have been to the town with their cancelled checks. And apparently there's some sort of issue with the vendors, what I heard. Honghua, are you, can you hear us okay? Perhaps you can let us know what's going on with the taxes situation. Honghua?
I can almost hear her.
We can't hear you right now. Can you, do we need to unmute or something?
No, she's not muted.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I can now, yeah.
Oh, sorry. I just found out today from Emily. She's working on all these tax payments, I guess. She gave me one example. One of the vendor did pay in July, and previous treasurer collector didn't post it, didn't record it. So she's trying to work at cleaning that up right now.
So what happened, Honghua, exactly?
The treasurer collector told me today that some of the vendors that they did pay their tax payment like in July or so.
Yeah.
And the previous treasurer collector did not record it.
Okay, so it's an internal issue for the treasurer collector. It's not a vendor issue.
That's what I heard today from the treasurer collector.
Okay.
So is this, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
So is this, so I checked my tax bill, it was paid. I know other people who pay their taxes, it was paid because a couple of people, I reached out to a couple people just to ask them to check their bills that just came out. So do we know, is this like a specific group of people? And how is it, if their checks have been cashed, wouldn't that, I mean, this goes back to my banking days. If you have a check that cashes and the vendor says they paid you, but you don't record it, there should be an outstanding balance on one side.
Yeah.
And so how do we not, I guess, if this goes back to July, because I understood that there was one from October, not July. If this goes back that far, wouldn't she have been off every month?
Well, this is one that she gave me an example today. That one in July, that vendor had paid, but I guess like she didn't post it to the correct year. I guess it's something like that. She didn't go in much detail. She was just giving that one example of the vendor. That's what she said.
Vendor or resident?
Vendors.
When you say vendor, Honghua, do you mean a resident?
No, a business.
A business?
So is it the lockbox vendor?
I think so. I think it's the lockbox, and there was other places that electronic, like City Hall. There's other electronic payment that goes to different banks, and I guess there's certain banks in that electronic that previous treasurer is not pulling down the payment. So then she needs to post that into Vadar, and that's the part that she was not doing.
But that
So
does,
that,
so do you understand what, it's the third-party vendor being
Well, yeah,
like the
because when I pay
lockbox?
my taxes, I pay through City Hall.
Right.
Right.
And some people put it in the envelope that goes to a lockbox in Reading, North
Right,
Reading
yeah,
somewhere,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's that vendor, and then for those of us who pay escrow into our mortgages, there's another vendor
Yeah.
that doesn't interface. So there's a couple of different ways to get, but I guess I'm still not fully understanding, and maybe this isn't something you can answer tonight, but I do think it's really important. There's checks and balances whenever a department is
Yeah.
receiving checks. Like when I was in banking, we receive a check, we would apply the payment. At the end of the day, if all of those things did not balance because I misapplied a payment, I needed to go back and find that. If we're talking back to July, and I know there was one from October, I mean, how much more are we looking at? How big of a problem is this? And it sounds like this is all coming out today, that we need to follow up, because I just,
Yeah.
there should be a check and balance, and I don't understand how we've gone this long without recognizing that there's a problem.
And it's to throw out all of our cash calculations, right?
It should be thrown
Yeah.
off our revenue projections on a quarterly,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because if it's July, then September, we would have had a quarterly, and then we would have had a second quarterly.
Yeah.
And so, I guess I don't understand that.
So, Honghwa, what are you going to do now about trying to track down what's happened here exactly? I know it's only
So-
today that it happened, but I mean, what's your plan going forward?
Emily said that she's gonna work with Masha, and they're gonna come up with a plan, like what they're gonna do. Right now, people have been calling and emailing in, and so they just try to tackle that right now. I mean, I can try to talk to her again to see what their plan, but right now they just so overwhelmed with phone calls and people walking in and all these questions. That's what she's trying to tackle right now. I could try to talk to her and see what's their plan.
So do we know how many people are affected by this?
No, she didn't tell me.
It's day one. So, Hongwa, in addition to kind of like firefighting the initial thing, let's make sure we resolve kind of why we didn't catch this sooner aspect of it. You know, like to Maria's point, there should be a check and balance on this in terms of if somebody's depositing something through the system, you should see that replicated all the way through, and we shouldn't be blindsided by it. Make sense?
Yep.
Well, also, we need to, there are putting people out there still who have paid their taxes and may get a bill for unpaid taxes. So we need to figure out.
Well, yeah, I think
what's-
that's because
what's-
the process broke down. Somebody's
Yeah.
not crediting that payment all the way through the system.
Yeah,
So then the other part of this is, what is being done to let the taxpayers know that this may be an issue and we're aware of it, and
yeah,
whether it's posted on the website. I mean, obviously, we can't contact people because we don't know
yeah.
until we figure it out and it's day one. But there needs to be something that allows taxpayers to understand that if you're paying your taxes, not through a bank, through whatever means, you need to, you know, check your bills, obviously. Because if their check's cash, they probably haven't checked their bills. And when you get the bill in, your next tax bill, I never check my path to see if, because it's paid by my bank, I always assumed it's paid.
Right, just have people putting another check in the mail.
Yeah, so,
Then what happens if we
So-
cash
yeah.
a second check?
right, so somehow we need to, I think, reach out. I actually, to me, this is a bigger issue. This is
Yeah.
an issue that has been happening, and this is nothing on Emily, because she started
No.
a week ago. So I want to be
Yeah.
really clear when I say this.
He's
But-
walked into it, yeah.
Yes, exactly, she's walked into it, but that department, since Mary Pat left years ago, has had tax collecting issues, and through multiple tax collectors, starting back with Carter, we have had issues when people leave. We find $1 million worth of checks, and we have people whose bills aren't being paid. And at some point, when do we say we need to look at thinking about a full detailed audit of the treasurer tax collector's office? Just to get to a point where we are, starting at, ground zero.
Well,
Like,
minimally, I think we need to get Emily get into the problem. I think.
Yes.
And,
Give Emily an audit.
I know.
But we
This is-
need,
no.
but yeah, this is going to be an ongoing topic, right, until we resolve it to our satisfaction. I mean,
Yeah.
we have to, at some point, Emily in here and explain what happened and what went wrong and how we're going to fix it for the future.
Yeah.
Emily and Hongwa, because this is clearly not acceptable. I'm wondering about my taxes, because I told you, I looked at mine, I got an $8,000 tax bill today, having not paid last quarter, and I thought I'd paid it, and I checked off everything in my system, and it didn't go through. I mean, it hadn't been paid, and so I assume it's my fault, but I'm not so sure now.
I
It
wouldn't
may
be
have
so
just
sure
got stuck
either.
in the system somewhere. I didn't get there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll check in with Emily, but I think the biggest thing is kind of her coming into the position. We've really tried to work and get her to a point where she can kind of focus on specific things and not try to pile on too much. But I know Hongwa's trying to slowly let her get acclimated before she starts tackling some of the bigger projects. But we'll touch base with her tomorrow and figure out a time that she can come in and talk through what's been happening in the Treasurer Collector's office.
yeah, pretty high priority, Rajon. We can't just sort of push it in the back burner and say it can wait. I mean, we need to know what's going on with this.
The other thing is there's consultant money. I mean, there's money in our budget and consultants.
Yeah.
So if she needs a hand going through and figuring this out,
Yeah.
if it goes back to July, I can't imagine having to go back and reconcile back to July. Can't imagine how we didn't pick that up before, but, if she needs a hand, there is consultant money.
Yeah.
And this is what it should be used for if we end up in this position, but then there needs to be definite follow-up,
Yeah.
so,
Okay. So to be continued.
yeah.
Thanks, Hongwa. Thanks, Rajon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, reserve fund transfers, nothing in that line. FY26 budgets, nothing there for me. FY27 budget, so budget's Saturday. I sort of kept a note of the things that I had got from Saturday, and I'll share on my screen what I've got. It might be good if we just can all chip in and add to this list. So I got the things I got, and I'm making this a bit bigger. Things that we're going to ask more questions about. So the trainee consultancy line for the accountants. I may know about we're going to introduce cards by the assessor, but that's just a cost increase. I think.
It was the assessor looking at, finding out what happened to the property cards, and
Yeah.
if we're paying, if that's still part of the service, or
Right.
did we drop that service, or what happened, because the cards dropped off. I think it dropped off in July, Kristen thought it was earlier than that. So those are property cards.
Yeah, so it's a question for the assessor, basically.
Yep.
There's a question on the treasurer line on training.
There's, and the tax title of $10,000, have we used that, is that enough money? Or is that too much money, because we budgeted 10,000 for tax title? And how much, it didn't look like we had used a lot, but that could be,
Right.
that could have
Okay.
been, this, perhaps Emily's gonna be able to get on top of that.
Yeah.
Since-
I mean, this was, and then the police is not really a financial question, but we wanted to find out what the overnight coverage actually was.
Well, it could be, because if we're doing overtime is flat, but we're only covering, 40% of the shifts,
Yeah, that should be let-
then we might need more overtime.
Yeah.
No, but
To
isn't he,
cover.
I thought he was budgeting it full coverage.
He said that, right, but we just need to confirm that when we, so,
Yeah.
So we're gonna be over budgeted slightly.
we should be, but we were over budget if you look at the numbers, pretty significantly on the police line
Yeah,
last year,
yeah.
so.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some questions about fire vehicle maintenance, whether that is the correct number based on the fact that DPW doing some of the maintenance now, I think.
Right, but then.
Offset by the higher spare part costs, right?
Right, but so all of that is, but specifically for the police, for the fire vehicle maintenance, the DPW cannot do the
Certain things,
apparatus.
yeah,
And our vendor for the apparatus told us we should go up 2 to 3% on that budget. Budget an additional 2 to 3% for maintenance on an apparatus.
Right,
And we went flat. So when we talked to the chief the other day, I think when he comes in, he either needs to explain going flat or, you know, we need to decide whether we want to go up.
yeah,
I mean, if we know that it's going to be higher than that.
yeah. Okay. DPW, we want more detail on the tipping fees.
The decrease.
And whether, and also hazardous waste strategy, whether we're gonna go for an annual hazardous waste or go for this Devon's option.
Right, and that's
Right.
gonna be working, that's with the select board. They'll make that decision.
Sure, yeah.
But, yeah, we just need to figure out
It's a
if the
budget
budget
impact,
in,
yeah.
Bulk recycling was another item on that too.
It was kind of the tipping,
Was that-
all of those, the transfer
Yeah.
station in general,
Yeah.
where it's getting more expensive, but we've come down on that budget.
Yeah, yeah. Mosquito control, I can't remember what the question was there. That was, we paid twice, I think we had two treatments last year. We paid twice from two different,
I think it was just kind of
Departments.
confirming that we were in the know because we were kind of confused, and then Mike
Yeah.
Johns, we think we corrected it where we were budgeting it twice. Half of it was getting paid from elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't spend half of it.
Right,
We went down. We want to just make sure that we're
right,
covered.
because one
Moved it to
comes
the
through the
right
cherry
place.
sheet,
yeah,
and then one, because the state does that through the cherry sheet, and then we contract a second one.
right.
So, and last year we budgeted for the two, plus we had it coming out from the cherry sheet.
Right, so we only used half of what we budgeted.
Right.
But it was all covered. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Question on community services training budget.
Yes,
The
community,
conference training.
maybe a decrease in that because it
Yeah.
seemed high and it hadn't been used in the past.
Yeah. And the veterans agent, the fact that we had 15,000 budgeted
Yeah.
and had used hardly anything last, or in 25 anyway.
Right, and that was in services. So the question there was,
Is there a good reason?
is there a good reason? Is he
Yeah.
using state funds? Because that's additional funds. State
Yeah, yeah,
also
yeah.
provides veterans funding, but we need to have a better understanding, like if we're gonna,
It just, it had gone from 0 up to something like $91, something,
Right.
something
Yeah.
like 900.
Right.
But it went to 7,500, back down to 0, and then up to 15,000.
right.
Yeah.
But,
So
and
it
that
doubled
doesn't.
from a number that he never got to before, so it's like, unless there's some reason why
Now,
they
he's new,
making that
right, so we've
decision.
had him for the last 2 years, maybe 3 years.
Okay.
And before that, that department wasn't really functioning particularly well, and certainly the benefits weren't being used. But this is additional benefits based on what the veterans agent said we needed last year.
Yeah.
Because he expended a lot, because we get state benefits for the vets. So, that's the question, are we gonna use this, and do we still need it?
Right. And then annual town meeting, I've forgotten now where we said we put that, we said we put it into one of the certain line items.
We're gonna put all the
Select
town
board.
meetings under the select board.
Select board, okay.
And so they're gonna go through and pull out the town meetings from the other budgets, plus they're gonna add this 10,000.
Anyone know what that number is offhand?
So it should be, I think,
One
Ray
and
John,
two.
30, how much?
It's the number department is 122.
122 is
Oh,
fine,
that
yeah,
number.
yeah, the
I'm
cost
sorry, I
gonna-
thought you
yeah,
meant
yeah.
the dollar amount.
Yeah, yeah. So it's we said 10,000, I think we can add. right?
10,000 is the additional, yeah, and they've already budgeted for the
Yeah.
other three, the other portions of
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
property cards.
So what have I missed? What have I missed from here?
So, oh, actually, go back to the mosquitoes for a second. It's not just that, it may be, we budgeted flat. There's no increase, and every year that increases. So I have notes that we may want to think about budgeting 5% higher until we get an actual cost. So that's that. Board of Health. Veterans agent. For the executive offices, we're decreasing the events budget by $1,000.
Okay.
And that's 1,000.
So that's under town administrator, right, I think.
Yes, it is.
Or executive offices, or whatever he calls it, 123, I think. Let's see that, no. Oh, RecCom's overall budget is very confusing, and we need a better understanding of that.
So do we want to have Brookcom come in and talk to us?
Yes, I think that's what we said.
So I'm putting down here. So down here I've got people who we want to talk to and when.
Okay.
Okay.
And was Redcom behind that change that Mike was talking about?
I don't know.
Because I think
That might be one of the reasons we want
we
to.
may need Mike here for that one,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can talk. I didn't get the feeling that,
I'm sorry, when you say which change, John, are you talking?
it just,
particular?
the Mike's, you know how this budget for Redcom has been in
Oh,
flux
for like the
the last
revolving fund
three-
and what's actually
Exactly.
budgeted and all that, yeah, we need some clarity on that.
So I think Mike and Heather
Because the
should-
revolving fund, I think, was paying for everything, but it shouldn't have been because not everything RecCom does makes money. So, yeah, I think they were trying to straighten that out.
Okay. Anything else?
FinCom, we have to discuss whether or not we're willing to cut our own budget by $500, or not necessarily 500, but some number.
Yeah, so we spent some money last year, but not.
Yeah, we didn't spend 500 on conferences.
You know, yeah, we could cut by half maybe. Right?
I mean, I think
Yeah.
so. We're asking everyone else to cut, and we're not using
Yeah.
the money, so.
You did a conference though, remember?
Right, but it
I went,
wasn't,
I went to a conference,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was it was valuable.
It was actually valuable,
Yeah.
yeah.
maybe we don't cut it. We just look at it and then say, okay, if we're gonna be committed to go to conferences, that's fine. That conference that day was a Saturday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all day
it wasn't, I
Saturday,
think,
yeah.
I don't remember, I had to be somewhere, but they are,
Very good.
you know, select board goes to the MMA conferences, and I went to one of those. They have a bunch of different seminars, they was very helpful,
Yeah.
so. But that said, we have to make sure we're gonna be committed to using the money.
Tony, was
And
that
make
something that is
movie.
like an annual conference?
I think it's
So
the
that-
annual, yeah, it's the Association of Town Finance Committees. I
Okay.
think it's their annual conference. It was a bunch of talks by different people about different topics about budgeting and the issues with the state and state aid and, you know, and there were different tracks you could go on. You could choose a track to go on. So in fact, it'd be worth more than one person going, because tracks are
Yeah.
like
Yeah, you could
both,
split
both
it up.
tracks.
It's kind of what I was gonna, like, it's an annual thing, it helps
Yeah.
us stay up to speed on what's going on, so
Yeah,
it's, you know.
So
yeah.
let's see what that costs and see what date it is, and if we can commit to it, then we don't cut. I just don't want it to be there and just constantly not use it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then it's probably not included with our, because we are a member of the,
We remember, but yeah.
Right,
yeah,
so-
yeah.
it's not included, at least should be some kind of discounted rate. I don't
Yeah.
remember it being very expensive. I feel like you sent that out to us,
You
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
and I don't
was
remember
talking about
thinking
that.
it was
Yeah.
crazy money.
Yeah,
No, it was like a few $100.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, okay. So we can look at that. But I think that's all I have.
Okay. So then I was thinking about what dates, we talked a little bit about how many people are in at certain dates. So we said library 1:30, which is next week. I mean, I think it's too short notice for the library. I mean, I could reach out to Pei-Shan and see if she can do that.
I think they've been pretty settled on their budget for a while, because the only big thing they had was the director's salary, which they negotiated like
I
October.
mean, do we need to have them in, I suppose, is the question. Do we have any questions for the library that are meaningful? I've done people drag people in here for no reason.
I think last year.
They had the big request with the
Yeah,
renovation
with
last
the
year.
renovation last year. The year
Yeah.
before was the 250,000, and last year it was
Yeah.
50,000.
Yeah.
At a
And this year
minimum.
they just got a grant for the generator.
Yeah, so
They're pretty good.
And I don't know what's on the capital plan for them, if anything.
I think we should just leave them then, because, I
I
mean,
don't think nothing pops to the top of my head.
yeah.
I can reach out and just ask if they have anything that we're not aware of and see
I
if
have
they
that
propose
cap
coming
plan.
in, but.
Unless we're going to object to some element of their budget, or have some questions we
They want panic buttons, which,
They what?
that's fine. Don't even bring it up.
it's
But
low,
is that
And
real?
and they're gonna get them.
it's low cost though, right? It's
Yeah,
low
well,
cost.
they're not cheap, but they're gonna get them. Trust me. That's a fair ask.
Oh, okay.
That's real, that's right.
For real? I mean, honestly, just would like to know why. I'm not saying it's not fair.
Why?
I don't understand why a library needs a panic button.
So if something.
Really?
If there's a threat, they can
Okay,
press a button,
okay,
the police
okay,
can come
okay,
in.
all right, I'm
Are you
sorry.
kidding me?
Okay, all
We had
right.
this meeting about 48 hours after that
Okay,
event,
I'm sorry. I guess I wasn't really thinking that.
obviously.
I wasn't thinking that. If you said school, I would understand. I wasn't thinking library. Okay, whatever, my bad. I'm sorry. It's just a question.
And they've had some bad actors in there,
Exactly.
Yeah, they've had a few folks.
They will, you know,
Yeah.
there's nothing you can do. You hit the panic
Yeah.
button, but then because it's the the First Amendment people.
Yeah.
So, people that walk in and they want,
Okay.
yeah, blah,
So,
blah,
okay,
blah.
so
It's a
library
little-
then,
yeah.
unless someone's really got a burning need to speak to
So
the
is that all
library.
they have is panic buttons for real? Unless, yeah, I'm trying to open the budget now to see, but I think unless it's, we had them after Capitol Saturday last year.
Yeah. Yeah, so, well, again, we can wait till Capital Saturday, if there's anything on the, if there's one article that comes up or something, you know, and leave it. Police fire, we said early February. So I'm going to have more questions for them based on what's up here, so maybe I'll leave them both together then.
Yeah.
Planning board, we said, I mean, well, yeah, what's in their budget? I mean,
In the planning board budget,
yeah,
the only thing.
Consultancy, wouldn't it, I suppose,
The
is
one-
thing we got.
We talked about the consulting fees for them, and then the only other reason we would want the planning board in is depending on what their articles are. So the planning
Yeah.
board, we, usually with the town planner, we should do those together,
Okay.
because then we don't have to have Alec in twice.
Yeah,
And sometimes we don't need Alec for his budget.
yeah,
So they can figure out what their articles are gonna be, and we will know that more on,
okay.
Saturday, in February.
Okay, the school, we said end of February, when they,
After, yeah, you gotta just to make sure Adam's good with that, and that's after
Yeah.
is
That's,
that after they do their budget?
that's what he said, right?
I thought their budget meeting wasn't the first weekend in February, though, was it?
It's gonna be Monday. So it was not Saturday, because we do a
No, I
budget
know.
Saturday. So it's gonna be Monday night that they're scheduled their budget
After our
meeting,
Capitol Saturday, which
Yeah.
is when?
which is February,
February 7th.
yeah.
Okay, all right, so yeah.
And then, so it would be February 9th is the actual date of their budget
Yeah, yeah,
meeting.
that's way beyond.
And then, so they'll take a preliminary vote at that point, and it can't go higher than that.
Yeah,
But I thought they were a little later in, that they were into a final vote. So if that works for Adam, because at that point, they should know about their, their plan, their reorganization and all of that.
I mean, we're making the working assumption, right, that the school budget is what we have in our model.
There's no reason to think it's not. The only thing
Yeah.
is it could go down from there if, for
Yeah.
some reason, I mean, I don't think they can,
Yeah,
but, because Acton can't go any higher than that.
yeah,
Which is a whole different conversation, but,
yeah,
but then they can also, can come in and talk about the reorganization,
yeah,
so.
yeah, okay. And then Redcom,
They have stuff on the capital plan. CPC,
so that should be.
So after Capital Saturday.
so after Capital Saturday,
Yeah, so,
right? I think they have stuff on,
Yeah, it's
Playground.
for the
Structure.
playground,
Playground.
for the CPC funds.
so should we say, well,
What was that?
so,
there aren't many, but I think that's the 3 meetings we've got in February, apart from the third.
and we don't have, I don't think we have the schedule yet for annual town meeting, for when the warrant closes and all of that. We do not have that schedule yet.
Did you want DPW to talk about like tipping and all that?
We
Oh,
do,
yeah,
don't
we want DPW.
Yeah.
So we should do, other than the school, we should do planning board and RecCom on one night.
Okay,
I know I'm not here on the 17th. That's school vacation week. We won't be here.
Okay, we can't do RecCom that night because,
Yeah, because Hillary would like to come along with Mike to talk about the budget for Redcom.
or maybe go on vacation with you, one of the two.
Oh, no, but I mean, like,
We could do it remotely.
when Redcom comes, when they're on the agenda,
Well,
I'd like to be
So,
here with
what
Mike.
about do it on the 10th?
yeah, so
then?
do it on the 10th, and then we
Yeah.
put DPW on the 17th,
Yeah,
because Hillary doesn't need to be here for DPW.
Yeah.
okay. And then DPW on the the 17th. Okay. Anybody else you want to talk to? Liveliest question mark right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we have some questions on the town budget, so Mike, Rajon, but I mean, they're here anyway,
Yeah,
right? So we can just ask throughout the process.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You may, no, I guess you don't, you don't, because we're gonna be talking about that this week and voting it next week, so.
All right.
Is it too early for the tax collector to talk about debt? That part of the budget?
You mean the treasurer?
Treasurer.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she just got here,
I know, that's why I'm wondering if it's too soon.
and she kind of walked into a dumpster fire, so we might want to give her a hot second.
Yeah.
So it's too early. But the assessor, we talked about wanting to talk to the assessor, but do we
Yeah.
want to do that in relation to the budget? Because he said, you know,
Well, we did, didn't we? We did this, to do these cards. Right? The question is that a cost issue for the cards?
it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a slight increase in the software. The question is, why did the property cards go away?
Yeah, why were they dropped? Yeah.
Yeah, and then is there a cost associated with that?
I mean,
I
who
thought
uses
when we
them?
were talking to the assessor on her way out, she was saying like, no, we're still doing those. It's all contracted. We have Patriot and Catalyst doing it. There's no reason, I don't know why you're not seeing them.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know if we really have the big
I'll get
picture.
research to assess and find out and get back
Yeah.
to the group. I mean,
Yeah, now, are we, for assessor, or we're not doing the $30,000 warrant article?
Right.
And the overlay's all set? Like, we're not?
He says we're not taking it
Great.
overlay.
So then we don't need to talk to him if you want to just get an answer on the,
Yeah, yeah,
property
yeah.
cards and and even if it increases the budget, Mike can do that when we talk to Mike or Rajon.
Yeah,
If,
yeah.
if you want to send Jim an email and just copy me and Mike on it in Hungwa, that might be a little bit easier to do that, especially about the property record card.
Okay. The sound is atrocious.
I was
Yeah.
just saying, why is
It's
it
terrible,
only
because
on
when-
a-
when
I'm just
I'm
noticing
on-
there are no speakers.
Yes. When
Something
I'm
there.
on Zoom meetings at home, you can hear the Zoom participants perfectly.
Yeah.
But if you're in this room, you can't hear them
It's
at all.
gotten worse in the last like month or so.
Yeah.
You know,
And somehow-
it's like muffled, EQ'd weird. or
It's,
something.
it's the,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not saying the row.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right, okay. Do we want to talk about the models at all? I mean, I shared the models on Saturday, and John's got his model as well.
I had one more note for Capital Saturday. Just I want to make sure I get it on record. Just
Budget Saturday or capital?
sorry, budget Saturday. When I was looking in ClearGov for notes, there was a note that I had read out, and then Hongwa corrected that was a note from 2024. I think some people, when they're putting notes into ClearGov, are putting the date first, and you can even see in your spreadsheet that you've copied, there's plenty with dates. I think that might be Mike Johns doing those. The majority of notes have no date, and there's no timestamp when you enter it into ClearGov. So I think we need to try to get, policy established that when people put notes in, they put the date. Because you go
Right,
over
'cause
to.
you read one and
Yeah,
missed it.
you just like, you're looking at the fiscal year 27 budget, and you click on notes, and it just has a description of explaining what that line's about, and then
Oh,
it's from
right.
2 years ago.
I mean,
Right.
for fiscal 24 or
Yeah,
5.
because that line stays and the note just exists there forever.
And
I'm
the thing
assuming
is,
that
some
note
of
will be
them,
there from 2024,
Yeah.
15 years from now.
and
so they
some
gotta
of
have a
them
date.
don't make sense. You read the note and you're like, well, I don't know how that helps you with this budget. Like, it did not in fact go up $7,000, so it just causes chaos.
Exactly, it makes it worse.
There's 3 places
Because you go
where
off
you
and
can
try to
put notes
figure it
too.
out.
So when you look at the line item, it's notes. That's the primary note that are copied here. Then there's a tab for justifications. That also has no timestamp. That's where I read the 2024 thing.
I mean,
It's just
yeah.
a snippet of text.
If
Then
ClearGov is
there's
a halfway decent program,
Yeah.
you timestamp it
Well,
automatically.
I thought-
there's a
No,
third,
we've
there's a third
already
tab.
established.
There's a third tab, comments. That has a timestamp.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
so
it's
maybe-
using
what?
That-
maybe
that's-
There's a
that's
third
the
tab
one
for
that-
comments. So you have
Remember,
notes, justifications, comments.
But
That will timestamp.
That doesn't
The-
print out. though.
And that's the one that no one's using.
Yeah, because I remember we asked, and maybe they added it
Because
only
it's
to
3
the
feet to the
comments.
right.
So I think that's a pretty important thing to just track when those
I'll
notes are
talk to
added.
Mike about trying to set a policy around this.
Can we ask the ClearGov folks? Is that still on the table? I mean, I
We've
know,
asked them a lot of stuff.
I know,
to that question.
but I wonder if they did it, but they just did it for comments only, and we're like, there's 2 other tabs. Like, You guys. add in
And
there
why?
too.
Why do we have two other tabs? Like, can we
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
What's
just
crazy
one
is,
tab.
like,
consolidate the tabs?
When you
think
enter
we're
that, their database has a timestamp on it. So why they don't
Yeah.
expose that to the
I
user
think we're still
is
using
insane.
the beta version, actually, of ClearGov.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, Joe, that makes sense. I'm sure it's on their side, and they just
Yeah.
need to go
Yeah,
click.
Yeah.
yeah, make
All
this
right.
Yeah.
visible, you know, it's a cell.
But
in
either
the
way, yeah,
database.
sorry, to not distract from your point, Joe, yeah, if we could, that would be helpful
Yeah, yeah.
for, I think,
Get some
everyone.
some sort of policy, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, do we want to talk about the budget at all, from what we talked about on Saturday?
We-
The model, or,
I mean, I think we're confident that we don't need an override. Yeah.
And I think the numbers lined up pretty well, like overall, right? When we were
Yeah,
looking at the
Yeah.
high level,
Um,
there weren't any major discrepancies that we weren't able to hash out.
I think we do need to get back to Mike, because it would be nice if we were all kind of trying to solve the problem the same way.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's my concern too, is that you guys have got one model showing things one way, and Mike and Rajon had a different model, and it kind of all fits together, but the public, it needs to be basic for the public. They need to understand it, and it needs to be, we all need to make sure we're on the same page.
And honestly, and I'm not saying I'm doing it right, or I'm assuming we're doing it right, but we are taking away, again, Mike, Rajon, no offense, that I think the public could understand. It's the basic accounting. You've got your revenues and you've got your expenses. And those should essentially match over a year, roughly, right?
Yeah.
And with what they do, I've only looked at, you've looked at it more than I have. It just seems.
I still can't get my mind around the way to
Yeah.
look at it, because they look at, they have a number for levy, and then they say, then we've got this 2.5% we can increase.
The levy is income, because you can tax it if you want, so that's on an income
Yeah,
line.
yeah,
It's a weird way to
And
think
then
of
there's
it.
new growth, that's a revenue, which is not really.
Right.
It's like, it's mixing together a lot of apples and oranges
Yeah.
in one basket.
It's sort of like, is it coming in or going out?
Yeah.
And that's all that they're caring about
So-
at that level, which, I mean, it's a different way of looking at it, and I think they explain it makes sense for the municipal
Maybe
finance.
a municipal
way.
finance way
Yeah.
of looking at it, which I still don't get it, so,
Yeah.
and that just maybe it's just me.
Anecdotal, I have a similar problem at my company. I'm in sales, and we don't have a finance team. So our sales team does the finance. And then when our, higher management people are talking about revenues, it gets all confusing, because sales thinks of revenue once we ship it, right? Finance only cares once the check's cashed. So because you have one department that's trying to talk both languages, it becomes impossible. We're
Yeah.
totally unaligned all the time. And I think it's a similar thing here, where there's two fundamentally different ways of thinking about the same numbers, and they both math properly to each other's way of doing it, but they're hard to, it's like speaking different language when you try to talk to each other about it.
So I don't know how we resolve that, because, in a way, I'm reluctant for us to take on the responsibility of publishing all financial data for the town.
Yeah, it's not our job,
Right, yeah,
it really isn't. It's our job to check the numbers that are published by the administration.
yeah, yeah.
And right now,
So we don't understand their methodology.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. So
Yeah.
we can't confirm that for the
And-
citizens,
yeah,
That's a
and
problem.
that's the problem.
yeah.
And we don't wanna, I think that you have taken on more, I know you've taken on more than any other FinCom chair ever.
Yeah,
And, you shouldn't be doing this. You should, this should be coming out of the administration in a way that's digestible for us, in a way we understand it, so that we can confirm the numbers.
We're not really tasked to be the public-facing voice of the financial direction of the town, though, right? We're tasked to,
we're vetting it.
we're vetting it, we're
Yeah.
recommending to the town manager and
Yeah.
the select board what and
We
reviewing
recommend to the
budgets
town.
and recommending, right? But I
Yeah,
mean,
ultimately, that's our
we
job.
don't have to justify, the way that it's, the town does their numbers, or,
But we have to understand the way they do their numbers.
Right, so if we say, okay, the budget looks fine, it's kind of implied that we understand how their budget works and that it's logical.
Like, their revenue numbers are fine, but if the way we, you look at it, and if they say they have $100,000 in revenues, but we can't substantiate that's our job, right? And we're the keeper of the budget, and we bring that budget forward, and we present it at town meeting.
but we understand our budget, which
But
should be
our-
the same, right? I mean,
It should
it's
be the
just-
same.
Yeah, so we're just having trouble reconciling that it is the same?
I would say I am. I mean, it's very easy, when you're coming at it from two different angles, it's it's very easy to get lost.
Because it's not the budget. The budget numbers might all be the same. These are easy, well, okay, aside from ClearGov, that's easy to understand. It's the models and it's the levies and all of that, and that's the important part. Because we have to make sure we're not going into an override situation where we're not asking for an override, but here we are, now all of a sudden we're short on tax revenue.
I just
That's
feel
our
like,
job.
I mean, I feel like it's going above and beyond, which I'm happy that we do, because I think our committee does go above and beyond. I just feel like we're tasked to take the numbers that are reported to us from the town and accept them and vote based on them. I mean, we don't have the audit power to go down and go into Veda ourselves, and you know what I mean? So I feel like there's some level of trust we're supposed to have that.
But we're not tasked to accept them, we're tasked to vet them.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I don't
how
know.
you-
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hi. I feel like part of our job is also kind of like explaining the rationale if people have concerns, right? Because if we're saying we're recommending something, we understand the rationale, we're explaining it in like layman's terms, right? Like the amount of times like I've explained Prop 2.5 and like an override in the past couple of weeks is increasing ever since, the Boxborough B picked it up. Right, so I feel like it actually is part of our job to understand and be able to justify the numbers we're putting our committee behind, right? Is this worth like another a separate session of just like breaking down what maybe 27, 28 could look like from bottoms up from the town perspective, so we're all reconciled? Or are things kind of set?
I missed that last part of the question.
You're asking about the sort of future years, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like, the way the town does things and the way we do things are different, right? Like, is it worth a separate session kind of reconciling those two so we're able to explain?
Maybe that's
how
the
we get
answer.
to these numbers?
Maybe we need to have Mike and Honghua here and
Yeah.
Raison and try to come up with a model that we can all agree on, that makes sense. Because clearly the way that they present it doesn't make sense to us. And I think it will be confusing to people in the town if they're seeing different numbers published in different situations that don't seem to line up. I mean, Kristen had that issue on Saturday. She was saying, I can't see where that number is in the other model. So she couldn't walk across, and I couldn't really walk across either, really, for some of those numbers.
And frankly, we should have our model, but they should be, the town in the past has always had a financial model that it presents to FinCom.
Yeah.
Right? And so we had that model, and then your model should just be a double check.
Well, that's when I started this, like
Right.
3 years ago.
But
That's-
you're doing the model.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not seeing a model coming out of
Yeah.
town hall.
Right.
Well, I mean, there was one page that.
But right,
That's the output from their model. They have to have some spreadsheet somewhere that does that.
that gives that, right. But that didn't match our stuff.
Shouldn't we just have one model that we both
Well, I think that's what we're getting
start
at,
from the
'cause
same
we're
template,
involved.
and then we can audit against. We're using the same spreadsheet. to
Exactly.
start with.
I'd rather discuss and, get into the detail of what goes into the model than the actual model structure itself, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if we have to use the way that they do it to align, maybe that makes sense. I mean,
I
If
don't
not
think that's going to happen.
I mean, I think it's less likely that they'll adjust based on what we do, because it sounds like they're doing it based on the way municipal finance is,
Well, we don't know that. We don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
I think
we were
should-
told.
I think it's worth a meeting, no
Yeah.
question about it.
Yeah. So maybe just
Especially
put-
for projecting out into the future, it should be an extension of this model. It shouldn't be a whole new model.
So maybe it's a topic for next week's meeting. I'll get Mike in, and we'll look at the whole budget modelling process.
Okay. Can I just add on the budget from Saturday?
Yeah.
The levy is based on what's in the ClearGov. That includes $186,000 in the reserve fund, right? So if we take that out, we're to the good for $186,000 more.
Yeah.
So actually, that puts us in a better position, which you don't
That's
have
right.
that model,
So we
because you
discussed
said
that, didn't we, before?
Yes.
We didn't discuss it on budget Saturday, but the idea was we didn't want to make that part of achieving the target.
Right.
we want to say, on top of getting to the target, we want to go beyond that by another $186,000. So that's sort of still in our back pocket in a way,
Right.
as a number that can come out of that.
So that's good, because as we
Yeah.
come up a little bit on these other things that we're discussing, if we have to come up a little bit, and it's not a lot of money there,
Yeah.
but come up a little bit here,
Yeah.
even if come down, but we do have another 186,000, which we do need to remember
Yeah.
as we go through this process
Let
to
me
pull
put
out.
that in here as well as I think something to,
Yep.
to track, because
And then we need to set that policy and do a warrant article for that.
we will need to do a warrant article, and we need to think about that policy, because the issue is going to be, it's a warrant article, it'll come out of free cash. If it's a warrant article, that money will stay on the books even past the end of the year. We don't spend it.
Right, so I actually think it's more of a fund.
It's a fund. Yeah,
It's
a fund.
literally a fund.
It's a reserve fund, right?
So
it's a
then-
reserve fund. But then, how much do you know? How do you know how much to top it up with the following year? Because you
Because-
don't know till late in the year how much.
Well,
you've
we
used.
should know, so we should know when we close the books, what's in that fund.
But that's too late for a warrant article.
No, we close the books, June 30th is the last day of the fiscal year.
Right.
The book should be closed by September 1st. So it's not too late, because we're doing, that. It's during the budget session that we're gonna do a warrant article. So the first year, so this year, we will take, for the sake of argument, $180,000 from free cash and put it into the reserve fund.
FY27 is $186,000. Right?
We use in FY '27, $20,000, so now the reserve fund is $160,000
Right.
on June 30th.
Right.
Going into FY '28, we should be putting $20,000 out of free cash to bring, or whatever that number is, the
What I'm
5%.
saying is you can't do that in town meeting 26, because that's before the end of June.
But we're doing, this May, we're doing it for this year.
We get the data from last year, this year, which is enough time to do it for next year.
So you're skipping a year, basically.
Well, what we have budgeted is
Yeah,
186,
Yeah.
right?
We skip a year. We do alternate years. That's the way you do it.
There's a lag, there is a lag.
Yeah.
It's 12 months of lag. You
Yeah.
find out what happens at the end of the year, you find out in September, over the winter you strategize, you do the budget thing in the spring.
And you
get
add
it
what
for-
you need to add.
You get it starting the next fiscal year. So there's a 12-month delay.
On where that number should be,
Yeah.
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
But that number, if the budget moves 5%, is gonna go up 5%,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Because that's a percentage of our
Yeah.
budget,
Yeah.
right? So 5%, that's fairly short money.
Yeah, it's not that. It's a question of how much is left over at the end of each year, right? Which you don't know until the end of the year. Because you may be doing reserve fund transfers. At the
We
end.
should be able to project.
But by definition, you can't, because they're for unanticipated costs.
Yes, this is true. So the only other thing you can do is we can say that we will fund it at the fall town meeting. That gives us a chance
You
to
could
know
do-
what
you
it is,
could
and
do-
then
you
just,
could do
that
that.
would be our one finance thing at the fall town
That
meeting.
tightens it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it does tighten it up, because then we would know exactly how much goes in.
Yeah.
And it's coming out of free cash. We just, as a
Yeah.
finance committee, need to remember,
And you need to make sure there's enough in there to cover you through those three or 4 months.
right,
Which is probably early in the year you use less of reserve fund anyway,
Right.
so probably okay.
right, something like that. I think that's, so that's something
Yeah.
I'll kind of put in paper and see how that works.
So
for
we've got
everybody.
to write that language quite carefully. Another thing is, of course, if there's no free cash, we have to revert back to operating budget.
Right, and we should never be in a position where we have no free cash, because we're never gonna get below a certain percentage anyway on our free cash,
Well, yeah,
right?
but if there's no free cash above our limit.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, so that just is a big hit to the budget that following year.
Yeah.
So, right, so that's the other thing, is
Yeah.
you, all of a sudden, if our reserve fund's 190,000, and we don't have enough free cash, now we have to put it
Now we
back in
can
the
have a
budget.
compound it, yeah. Well,
Again, something to think about as we're
Yeah.
talking about all this.
Yeah.
Or we just leave it in the budget,
or we leave it in the budget.
right? Because it's in the budget, and we're within the levy enough that we're all comfortable with it. We leave it in, and,
Maybe next year we do it.
we just have a conversation about it. I don't know, we keep talking about it. But right now, it's in there, so we just need to think about that. And if we think we want a warrant, we need to tell Mike to hold a spot for us on that.
Yeah. So that's a question mark.
Yep.
Think about. Okay. Right. Next topic, special town meeting.
Oh, special town meeting, that's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we all got the warrant, right?
Yes, I actually, hold on. Hey, Rajan.
Yeah.
So I took a quick look at this warrant.
No.
And this is not, I don't see this, all right, let me, I'm sorry, I'm stuttering and I don't mean to.
Yeah, I'm about to pull it up here just to.
Say again?
So I'm pulling the warrant up on my end too.
Okay, so in the warrant, please make note of this, and I will make sure I reach out to Mike tomorrow. There needs to be an article for the vote at the ballot for the override for the property and for the design money. There's two questions that are gonna be ballot questions. That needs to be part of the warrant, and Article 1 needs to be that. And I sent an example of that to Tony and Mike once. I'll send it to Mike again. I just don't want this to get forgotten, otherwise we're not gonna be able to bring this to the ballot.
All right.
That's not a FinCom thing, I have too much stuff in my head thing. Okay?
Yeah, I'll talk to Mike and Kelly about it tomorrow.
Okay, thanks. All right, so the first article, so let me tell you what we did last night at our meeting, and then that'll eliminate a couple of these articles. Last night, we talked about the 3 sites that we had remaining. We've gotten all the environmental reports back, all the geological reports, everything that we needed to start making some decisions. And we decided to take 1300 Mass Ave off the table because the purchase price of that property was at least $4.5 million. Plus, it was $700,000 to take that building down. And that didn't include us having 1,300. I'm sorry, 1,300 Mass Ave. The 750 to take the building down did not include if there needed to be any kind of mitigation for asbestos or any of that, and this is like a pretty old building. So, looking at that, we took that off, which leaves us with 72 Stowe Road and 984 Mass Ave. Both properties, we did extensive testing. We've done testing in the past at 72. We did extensive testing recently at 984. Both properties are clean. There's no concerns with them. Both have, there's nothing to indicate that we would need any kind of elaborate foundation or anything like that. Both properties can hold the building. And we did a matrix, and we went through the matrix. Both have abutters. Clearly, 72 has far more abutters. 72 is the purchase price on that for the town would be $1.2 million. The purchase price at 984 would be, we've got it at $2.4 million right now. We're in the process of trying to finalize that number, but that would be the high side of that number. The design money is just about equal, $2.7 million and change for each property. We did get numbers on the completed project, very high level numbers. So with the increased purchase price and some of the design money and like the actual design itself and site work, mostly site work, 984 would cost approximately $2.8 million more to build on than 72 Stowe Road. On paper, from purchase to design to construction.
Oh, so that's overall.
Overall,
Okay.
that's everything,
Thank you.
right? From beginning to end. It's about
2.4, 2.8.
2.8. Did I say 2.4? I'm sorry,
It's
2.8.
2.4 the purchase price
Yes.
of the property, 2.8
Yeah.
more total to build.
Yeah, so it's $1.2 million more than Stowe Road to purchase, but then there's other, there's site work and that. And this is preliminary. This is site work based on these guys walking the property and doing some borings, right? So
Yeah.
the goal is we're gonna go with this very high level estimate of $31 to $32 million to build on these sites. Our goal is to bring that number down through value engineering. These are really high-end numbers, and we just don't know where they're gonna land. They're not gonna land at $20 million, so that should not be a thought, right? They're gonna land it somewhere. If we can get it down below 30 million, that's great, but we don't know that yet. In any event, we need to make a decision, and we have another meeting on Thursday night between 72 Stowe Road and 984. And what I'm gonna ask you guys to do is hear all of this and then talk about how, I mean, I'm representing the finance committee on this board. And I wanna make sure that our vote, or at least, even if we don't all agree, I can go in and say the finance committee isn't in agreement, but this is, so we know that 984 has got a $2.8 million difference higher. But that's just for design. On October 16th, we had an abutter come to our fire station building committee meeting. This was after special town meeting, and we got the zoning regulations in, and it was an abutter to 72 Stowe Road. And that abutter stood at that microphone and told us that if we go forward with purchasing 72 Stowe Road and try to build on it, they will sue the town immediately in state court, and if that doesn't work, then they will take us, so I don't know who she spoke for herself at that public meeting, they will take us to court and to federal court and tie us up for as long as they can. So tying us up for, every day we get tied up in legal action on 72 Stowe Road is $4,000 a day in escalation costs, plus legal fees. So, go ahead.
No, I don't want to interrupt you.
No,
Does your legal counsel say they have any grounds to do this?
So the problem with whether or not they have standing is there will be a delay because anybody can sue anybody.
Sure.
So the example I can tell you is the same abutters, not this woman who spoke. I don't know if she's new to the program. The same group of abutters from that neighborhood, the day after Enclave was approved by the planning board, immediately filed suit with their own attorney, and it went to court, and it took 6 months. And they were told, the judge said to them, threw it out, but there was still a 3 to 6 month delay, and caused the whole project to go into settlement and everything else. So 6 months at $4,000 a day, ultimately, and legal fees. The concern, I think, at least that I'm gonna convey to you guys is, I know that ultimately $2.8 million is a significant difference in the overall price, but I really do think that every step of the way at 72 Stowe Road is gonna be abutters at planning board meetings trying to delay the project, in court trying to delay the project. They don't want it there.
Well, 6 months is only $750,000. That's a lot less than 2.8.
I was gonna say that.
You're killing me, dude.
Well
You're
played.
killing me.
Well played. I was not expecting that
I
one.
was not, good job.
Same thing.
I just, how much of delay it would be, I don't know. And it's a guessing game. I mean, was this woman talking for everybody? Maybe?
Yeah, this is just bluffing.
Maria,
Or
can
she's just
you
bluffing.
cover one thing as well again, though, in terms of cost that I think you brought up before?
Yeah.
The 1.2 million, that purchase price, doesn't that refund the
Housing
housing?
board.
So it
Affordable housing
essentially
trust.
comes back to us?
It does come back to the town, and then the housing board will then turn around and use it to fund their programs. They are selling that property, whether it's to the town or to somebody else.
Okay.
Perhaps they sell it for more than 1.2 outside of the town. I think, I don't know if that's a family rate or not, I can't say, but they are selling that property. They're not keeping it because they need the money to fund their programs. And they've said that in town meetings and over again.
So if we get that 1.2 million,
Yeah,
or
back.
like we buy that back, like,
Yeah. It doesn't go into the general fund, so
Okay.
we can't use it for anything.
okay,
And we can't use it towards building it. It literally goes into the housing board.
okay,
And the housing board only has so much money. We don't fund the housing board. They have a housing, the housing.
Housing Trust.
Yeah, the Affordable
It's a
Housing
trust
Trust.
and it's separate.
And that's money. So they got about $200,000 in that fund?
Okay,
It's something like that. So they would like to add this back into it.
okay, yeah, because what I was gonna ask is, does that make 984 $4 million
Yeah, no,
more?
it does
And
not.
it doesn't, okay.
It does
Because I could
not.
see people jumping there.
Yeah, no,
and
it
being-
does not.
Okay.
So that's the problem we have. Is
So what's
we-
the idea here then? So both of these problems are on the warrant, right? Both
Yes,
get
well,
voted
we're gonna
for.
decide on, we're gonna make a decision on Thursday night, We're either bringing both to town or we're gonna pick one. I think the committee feels like we wanna go forward with one property.
Okay.
Because, you're gonna get people who might vote for 72 Stowe Road because it's the least expensive. But we need a 2/3 vote, and we need to get this done, and we cannot go back in another 6
So
months.
ideally, you'd like them both to be voted for, and then you choose which one's best.
I think we'd like to ideally go in with one piece of
You want
property
to go,
and
you
just
want
get
to
voted.
pre-choose and
Yes.
say,
Yes.
this is on, but
So
the
the
problem, if
meeting,
you
would
choose.
be able
some-
to vote for both.
Say again?
At the meeting, you could vote for, I could get up and be like, vote for both, is that what you're?
Well, the way we would do it is, we would put it on,
Mhm.
this, when we talked about this last night, we would put the 2 different properties on. The order of the properties is something we would put forward, we could put 72 Stowe Road first. If, for the sake of argument, so not to stress out butters, if we put 984 as the first article, and that gets voted and approved by 2/3, we would skip over the second piece of property,
Okay.
because they're both there, and then we go on to design money. We
Okay,
do not want 2 votes. And the problem we
Thank you.
have is, at the October town meeting, we had a sense of the meeting. Is it worth the money not to be basically in a residential neighborhood and to be on Mass Ave? And it was a 50-50 vote. I mean, I literally think there was 10 votes that divided it. So we gotta throw that out, right? That was
It
useless.
didn't help, then basically, it doesn't help.
So aside from the finances, which I've laid out for you guys, I think, the only other thing, there's other considerations that we've talked about. One of them is having a Mass Ave location. It is slightly faster on response time, and by slightly, I mean ever so slightly. But it is also a presence on Mass Ave. You get off the highway, you need a fire station, it's right there. If it's on Stowe Road, we need a sign at the corner, it's not quite so front and center. I think that's a big issue. For the fire chief, I mean, that is definitely an issue for him. For me, the issue is, we've got to get this fire station built, and we cannot afford any more delays financially.
Yeah, the issue with 72 is there's risk with it, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
there's still a grounds of opinion of people who don't want it there.
You still could have one motivated abutter on the other 984 as well.
So I will tell you, 984 has got 3 abutters. Well, they've got the Lawn Barbers, which is now Montiego Landscaping, on one side. They have 3 abutters that are basically on a hill above. They're all very excited about having the fire station there. Not one of them is gonna put up a fight. The town has been out there and they've come out and spoken to town officials, so the abutters there are not an issue. So,
What about the flexibility of the lot for design?
so we have taken, the engineers have taken the building that we've done, basically the most efficient building that we wanted at 72 Stowe Road, and are able to easily put it on the 984. Plus, it's 4.5 acres, it's flat, we know that we can put a septic in a certain area, we know that, that we can put a well there. While there is no well there currently, they're not concerned about that. There is flexibility on the site. I won't lie, the best, least expensive, most flexible site is 72 Stowe Road. But, that said, the abutters have been extremely difficult.
Okay, so aside from the butters though, how would you compare the properties?
I think I think they're
Oh, like
pretty-
all things being equal?
Yeah, all things
besides
being
cost?
equal,
that
yeah, putting the
dimension out.
abutters aside.
Mhm.
I think for a fire station, they're both pretty equal. I will say that there's 13 acres. You can help me, Gary, because you were on this committee and this is all part of, you were part of this too. Is it slightly easier on 72 Stowe Road? Perhaps. But with the site work, there's still the property comes in and then goes up on a ledge. So there's gonna have to be some earth moved and all that kind of stuff.
72?
At 72. So if you were to walk.
72?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you
it's-
were to walk, if you look at the back side,
Oh, like the very back of it?
yeah, on the
Yeah.
very back
Oh,
part of the property, it
that's-
kind of goes up. But, so there would be some land that would need to be cleaned out and, that kind of thing, right? Gary's nodding his head, yes. The elevation is, so it is not perfect, but we were talking about building in the front.
When we looked at the land originally, 13 acres, it goes back and then it goes up to the right.
Yeah,
And the thinking was put the wells up on the upper right area with the softball field, also. And then, because that site was big enough for both
Dude.
sorry,
Let's not complicate
I'm
this.
glad we're,
I'm still hoping, by the way.
glad we have no
It's a good site
extraneous
for it.
factors coming into our decision.
But we were talking public safety and council on aging facility
Mm-hmm.
on the same site. It was big enough for all of that.
But then,
So-
but then the town
Then
says,
we took away the council on aging building, the senior center, I mean.
yeah,
And then we shortened it down to just a fire station. But that site was big enough for multiple
Well, that's what I'm trying to get
facilities.
at. It's either lot have potential for other buildings.
I think that, oh, definitely, 984 is definitely just the fire station. I don't think you could do another building there. Pretty confident you cannot. There's certainly 13 acres at Stowe Road. I don't know, I'm not an engineer, I think you could probably put a building, but you'd have to design this building, because the biggest thing with the building is trying to design it so that the apparatus is going in one driveway and cars are in another. And one of the concerns was having to secure the police when the police were there. Police aren't gonna be there anymore. So, you could maybe do something in and around back. It depends on where the septic goes, it depends on, you can't build where the wells are, right? There's wellhead protections. So it really, you would have to kind of put that into the design. We did not design for more buildings on that property. The current design that we have, very high level design, is just for the fire station. So all things being equal, I think they're equal properties. I do think the Mass Ave presence makes 984 a little more attractive. And the chief will tell you that even though, because people are like, well, you're not in the center of town. Basically, Stowe Road is the center of town, is what I've been told. But as he says, you're closer to the highways, which is a lot of their calls, and we're closer to the biggest population center that we have, which is all the condos on that side of town. So there is that. So there's
So,
a lot.
Maria, I do have a comment and a question.
Yeah?
The comment is, when you drive by 984, it's a huge embankment, essentially.
Yeah.
Are we gonna have to take the land down, or
No,
are we gonna
you
work
would-
around the side of it, off
It would
Sarah
come-
Lane?
The thought is you'd come out onto Sarah's Way. The driveway would come out on Sarah's Way and then just turn out.
Okay.
That would be the driveway. It would be a shared driveway.
Shared, yeah.
And then the comment was, back on 72 Stowe Road, we did have a lot of discussions on the previous building committee about moving land right in the front, the middle area where the building would go. There was a lot of question about raising, lowering,
And how much you could move and go down by, because there is that. You can't just go in and move a mountain and just leave it.
Right.
Right? So there is a little bit of concern around that site work, but I mean, I think that's all doable. The engineers have said that's all doable.
But I will
given that
comment,
it's one.
the previous fire chief was always preferred being on Mass Ave. That was always a preference from the previous fire chief.
Right.
And the idea was, when you're driving down 111, visibility.
It seems a more logical place for it, actually.
Mass Ave.
Mass Ave. So I'm going to make a motion that as a FinCom, we support the purchase of 984 Mass Avenue.
I'll second it if I can, but I want to be careful, because I don't want to, like.
Okay, well, I'm making a motion. Does someone want to second that motion that 984 is the logical choice?
I mean, I'm on the Affordable Housing Trust too, so it's kind of tough.
Well, but you're selling, you're getting the money anyway.
Do we have to
Yeah.
do
You
this
get
now?
more, you
I
may
mean,
get more money,
That's
actually.
true. That's true.
Yeah.
So only in that I need guidance, because I know how I'm gonna vote, and I'm not gonna tell you guys how I would vote if I were not representing FinCom, because I really wanna make sure you guys talk it through and think about it, right? I know how
I
I
think as
would vote.
FinCom, I see a lot of risk in Stowe Road. I see more cost and more risk, which means more cost. So I think, although it seems more expensive, the 2.1 million for the land purchase, differential, I think it's much more straightforward, and it's a more desirable site. And I think in the scope of the whole project, that's not so material, considering what we could
How much?
be still faffing about in a year's
Yeah.
time, trying to get this thing working.
How much more is? What did you say? 2.8 total.
2.8
At an
million
estimate.
total. That's really back of the napkin rough, okay?
How much
So
more
it's-
is that per taxpayer?
So, I can tell you that, so hold on a second.
Call it $3 million on top of a $30 million project.
Michelle had her hand raised.
We
for
do
a
not
bit,
have a
too.
second yet, unless
No, we do
Michelle,
not.
Michelle,
Yeah, it was just the same question. I was wondering if we could break it down by like taxpayer difference, so it's a little bit more digestible for everyone in town who's not in a butter.
okay, so hold on a second. So I have $1 million and a half, so 9 18, 27, 37. Okay. At $2.5 million, right? So it's one. Hold on a second. We have a chart, but I've got to kind of do some calculations. Half, 1 million. 1.5, 2 million. So it is about an additional $50 a household per year,
Per year,
For how long?
30 years.
30 years?
30 years.
Okay.
About. That's like really, really rough at $600,000 evaluation. And more at it's gonna be more at $1 million evaluation. So let's call it $50, and that's kind of average for the middle, that it would cost per household.
Right.
If we
So
went
obviously
at
sliding
984.
pending house valuation, right?
Yeah,
Obviously.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I guess the other question I would have, the property itself, 984,
Hmm.
how does it, and I don't want to get too in the weeds or off track, but 502, right? It had all the wetlands, it really just wasn't a great option, all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. We have some abutters on 984. It's a smaller property, if I understand. You said it's about
984
Yeah,
is
it's
about,
about 4
yes,
acres?
it's about 4.2 acres or something.
Any concerns that, I don't want to say the property's too small, but like, you know,
No.
that was one of the big concerns about 502. It's not going to fit. Like, is it big enough that, I know it's 30 years from now, we need a new fire station. Can we still reuse that? Or we're going to have to buy another piece of property? Like, I would like to just forward think, like, if we're going to spend an extra $3 million now, are we
Yeah.
buying the right
And
piece
you
of
had
property
another
for the
bay
town?
onto it or something. Yeah.
Period.
Another
So,
two bays.
so this building, as presented right now, the programming we have, has an extra bay in it, not a full bay, and is a building that we anticipate to be, we keep saying a 50-year building, a 30 to 50-year building.
Okay.
So, there's an extra space in the bay, maybe
Yeah.
two, but there's a lot of space in the bays in between apparatus and that type of stuff. Everything's built to this standard, and we anticipate that we're not gonna need to add to it,
Okay.
right? So we're not gonna get 5 new fire trucks in the next 20 years, because
Right.
5 additional fire trucks.
Right. We would need to
Because
like
we're
annex
only
Acton
yeah,
or Harbor
yeah,
or
so,
something.
you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And that property is big enough to support the program as we have it. Exactly, we took the entire project from 72 and we plopped it onto 984, and we brought it
Okay.
forward a little bit, and we moved it a little bit, and there's still flexibility. And we could do a 1 floor, could we do a 2, 1 floor has its advantages.
Mm-hmm.
There's no elevator, it's a little cheaper to build, but you have a little more foundation.
And you have room for that with,
We would
both?
have room at both locations for that, yep. Yep, we did not have room at, at 502, so we do have room there.
If they need a light on Mass Ave, is that a state thing, or do we share
We've
the
already
cost?
had, it would be our cost, but we've already had that checked by the state, not by the state, I'm sorry, by the engineers and the traffic engineers, and they are not requiring us to have a light, even as because the sight lines, particularly at
That's what I was
984.
asking.
Chief gonna want
Okay.
a light?
Nope, the chief actually, the problem with the lights, which is interesting, is you put the lights in and it's a blinking light and then turns to a red. The chief says sometimes those are worse because people stop noticing them. So it's like, he's like, people just blow through them. Because basically they get a call, they hit the
Oh,
button.
once it's
the light
finally
turns
red, they're just,
And it's there and it just becomes part of the scenery.
Yeah.
So, but we don't need it there. We did need it if we were gonna do the Lions property. We do not need it
okay.
in any of the
Because
other
the sightlines
locations.
are fine at
Yeah,
984.
that was
Okay.
the sight lines, the engineers, the traffic engineers,
Mhm.
have said that.
Okay, so I made a motion. Did anyone want to second it?
If no one else is gonna second it, I'm gonna second it. And we can
Okay.
have further discussion and we can vote on it however we want, but, so your motion is to support the purchase of 984.
Yeah.
So, are there more questions? I'm happy to answer whatever questions we know.
I'm just really torn because it's the whole like FinCom versus, citizen in me. Like, if I was looking at these two properties for the first time on a map, I would pick 984 in a heartbeat. It's on Mass Ave. It's in the center of town. I also believe in, Alec's vision of the gateway into the town, and I think putting all your municipal stuff right in that thoroughfare through the town is a great way to do that. But financially, we're on the FinCom. It's a lot more expensive. There's the other implications for the Affordable Housing Trust. I know they get the money anyway. So really,
And
it
I'm
just
with
comes
Tony,
down.
you probably get more money.
Yeah,
For-
that's true. But it's a big extra cost. So as a FinCom primarily in this seat, it's hard to leave there just because of citizens' concerns, which has nothing to do with finances except the implications of potentially going to litigation or holding us up, costing us more money. But people being mad at us doesn't cost us money. So it's just tough.
Wait, people being mad at us.
I mean, just their feelings don't affect our budget. You know what I mean?
I understand, but
So-
their feelings could turn into legal action.
Yeah.
Then it does affect us.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
So, half of this 2.8, let's call it 3 million. So half of that is land acquisition
Yep.
change?
Yep.
What's the other half? Where's that come from?
Site work, some of the different site work in the different location, between the two locations. And again, this is very preliminary. It's a very preliminary budget.
Okay.
So when they look at it, they say, we need to do this here, but not here.
Okay,
that
so
kind of thing.
this requires more site work and prep.
Different site
For,
work,
for,
maybe.
both, for both of them, maybe, right?
Yeah, and I
Who
mean,
knows,
I
right?
mean, yeah,
You hit ledge or something.
you don't know.
Yeah.
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 Right, and now, so they've done the
Yeah,
borings.
yeah.
We do know there's a little ledge at the front of 984, but we can build on, you know what I mean? You can build around that ledge. It's not, and the borings that they did in the back portion, but again, you put a boring in here, that doesn't mean there's not ledge right next to it.
Yeah.
We ran into that problem, and that's the same thing for, 72. We ran into that problem at the Boardwalk campus, where we did all these borings, and then all of a sudden, they hit ledge, right, Gary? And then we had to do blasting, a lot of blasting.
It's like digging in your backyard.
But we did it within budget, because then we value engineered the budget.
Yeah.
So,
But it's like digging in your backyard. It's
You
perfect
have-
until you hit a giant rock.
yeah, exactly, I mean, yeah, so, I think Michelle has her hand.
Yep.
Oh, Michelle,
Yeah, Maria, when do we get higher fidelity on geo studies? Do we have to progress to the next step to get
Can
more
she-
information?
Here, I
You
don't
keep
know.
saying this is like back of the napkin.
Michelle, can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, hold on, let me see if I can,
It's not
Oh,
you. It's
closer
the
to my
sound in the
phone.
room.
yeah, it's the sound.
oh, sorry. When are we getting higher fidelity on these numbers, not back of the napkin numbers?
We need to go into design. So
So this
the
is
back of
as
the
far as
napkin
we
is,
can go.
we cannot, until we get a design on the property, we pick a property and then we get design. We will not know what the actual budget is for construction. We will, well, the design money is design and bid money. So we will
Yep.
have, once we finish the design, it will go out to bid. We will have exact numbers when we come back to the town. But we can't know that until we pick a property and we start designing it.
Okay, so we
And-
can't do any more geo on either site until we hit
We've done
design.
extensive testing on both sites. There's no more testing on the sites that gets us
Okay.
more information.
So, but your cost
Understood.
estimation level on both sides is of equivalent level of confidence, correct?
Yes. Yes.
And the design funds or the value of the design is going to be similar because
Exactly, it will be the
it's
same.
the same request for
Yeah,
funding no
same.
matter which, or
Okay.
for the design
It's not,
funds.
it's one, I think 72 might have been a little higher design funding, and I don't really, but, because part of it is bidding, I don't really understand the difference, but
But close.
it's like, yes,
Okay.
not worth.
And that part of it's not calculated in the $50 per person, right? Because like, maybe to the town, we should let them know the design plus the building equals, you know?
Well, and that's gonna be all presented by the by the Fire Station Building Committee
it'd be
to
like
the public.
A fraction.
They will know that.
$5.
Yeah, they'll know exactly, so.
The
Um,
72 Stowe Road, if we buy that property, is that all 13 acres or whatever it is?
Yeah,
Okay. Would we ever be able to do anything else there?
so again, it depends, because you have to remember,
Softball field.
well, softball field, aside from that, we can't build where there's wells protection.
Yep.
You can't really do anything on top of septic.
Okay.
So, you'd have to have, and we would need a cistern, because
Okay.
you understand, we're building in the country. So we
Yeah.
need a cistern as well, because
Yep.
you need fire protection.
Yep.
So it depends on how we design it. We're not designing to be able to use a different part of that property. We're designing a fire station, because the town said to us, that's what you need to design
Okay.
for the property.
Thank you. All right. So even though it's a property that's 3 times the size, it doesn't really matter.
There's no master plan for it.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
And it is a little tight. There's a couple wells from, the apartment building that that protection goes into the property. you do have houses on the, going down Stowe Road. I mean, I'm not, so. but-
Yeah, of course, yeah. And you
So-
have less of those concerns in 94.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table.
John has another question.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place here. Honestly, and I feel your pain, Maria, but at the same time, we have to put our house, the hat story. So it's,
My pain is just, I'm conflicted as well.
Okay.
I think it is, go ahead.
Are there
Right,
more
but I
people in
think
town
we-
that would? Sorry.
Actually,
but you have, I think, we have less finish line pain than you do.
I guess I would ask this. You said when they went in to do, oh my God, why am I blanking on the name? The Enclave.
Yeah,
And they sued right away.
next
And
day,
it got-
2 days later.
And it got thrown out right away.
It did not get thrown out.
Or
right
whatever
away.
it did, 6 months later, but basically.
6 months later.
Yeah.
Is this in that same ballpark? Like, do we know what the grounds were for throwing that out? Like, are we in that
They
same?
had no standing.
Okay,
And
that's
it
kind
could
of what
be-
I'm getting at here.
they-
Like, if we
that
go
could
with
happen again.
72,
I can't imagine residents stopping a fire station from being built because they don't want to hear sirens.
That said,
That point exactly was made, though, I believe.
well, and that's why I'm bringing it up. Like, from a FinCom perspective, like Joe already did the math. Or even if it's a year, right? That's a year delay. That's like $1.5 million, right? Fine, whatever. That's a lot of money, okay, and I get it. But from a perspective of like, and I don't think we have this answer right now, but what I think is holding up my decision partly is like, do we think there's going to be dragged on litigation for years, or is this just going to be like, all right, this will be 6 months, they'll go to court, it just gets thrown out because they have no grounds, and we just take the $1 million hit and
I'm thinking more
We're
about
done
what
here.
happens if it fails.
You know what I mean?
If it fails at a special town meeting,
right,
Yeah.
so
And
what
that's the other
happens if
concern.
That's what I'm
it
thinking
fails?
about.
Then it's, add 6 months to
then you have
it.
6 months.
Another
Then you have
6 months.
litigation.
Yep.
Then you've got another 6 months or a year.
Right.
There's
Yeah, and
other
that's kind of what
costs,
I- Yeah.
right? There's other costs.
Yeah.
We are
Okay.
losing firefighters. We've lost firefighters because of the conditions that they're living in
Right.
and they're working in. And a lot of them have been sticking around because we've been talking 13 years about building a fire station.
Yep.
And, there's a little bit of a light at the end of this tunnel, but if the abutters get together, which I have no doubt that we need 2/3 on both these votes, 2/3 to purchase, and
Yep.
if the purchase fails, we're gonna pull the article. We're not going for design money, because you can't go for design money if we don't know what we're designing to.
Right.
So, we're pulling the article on that. So, that is the concern, that we're, there are other hidden costs to delaying the project. And I honestly, I'm telling you, between the planning board and the planning board and what the holdup it could do, because at least one of those members is adamantly opposed to a fire station on 72 Stowe Road. That should not play into the planning board's decision.
Yeah.
But
and there's a strong
you-
constituency against 72
Yes.
Stowe Road.
Yeah, that's pretty
Let's face
clear.
it, I mean, it's a very strong
At the
constituency.
fall town
It's a
meeting.
vocal minority of
whether-
the town.
whether-
They just all go to town
It's a
meeting.
very vocal minority. They all go to town meeting.
Mm-hmm.
It still may pass, but it's going to be, you'll be fighting all the way, basically.
That's the concern.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
said I wouldn't tell you guys where I'm voting, but
Yeah.
my concern is every single thing. I am all about 72 Stowe Road. I think it makes sense financially. I think it's a property we've been looking at for a lot of years. It makes sense the town gets the money back, all of that. But, and I don't like to back down from a fight, so part of me was like having to wrap my head around, maybe you need to give up the ghost on this, because they're gonna fight us all the way. It's gonna be everything from the mitigation, we're gonna have to mitigate construction and all of
And that's
that.
going to be the cost that's going to overwhelm that
Exactly.
$2 million over,
Yes.
over time.
Yeah, that's just like what
that's
I'm
my
trying to
concern.
understand, the steps of the money along the way,
And with
too.
all these
Yeah.
people. So from a finance position, we also, it's not just this budget, it is all the other costs
Mm-hmm.
that have been, look, I mean, in May, if we were able to pass if in May, when they all organized and showed up at town meeting and failed the zoning bylaw change,
Yeah.
that delayed us to March, so almost a year.
Yeah.
So think about that $4,000 a day delay, right? If
Yeah.
we had gotten that in May, we would have been back.
another 1.1 already.
In March, we would be back with design fund request.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's, so.
And you're looking
you
at a
know,
continuation of that.
Right.
Ad nauseum, basically.
exactly. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
All right, so we can change our minds later, right?
Well, I have to vote Thursday night, so.
All right, so
Oh,
you're,
so you, okay.
That was
I
the
would
only one
just
coming to
like-
vote. I'd be voting yes, but there's
So
two
you,
of them there. and,
you
know.
want to go to
I would
vote.
like some direction.
You want
From
a
us.
FinCom
No, that's fair.
guidance. to
That's
what-
fair.
Right,
Yeah.
because like, if it's a split decision, I wanna say Thursday night, just so you know,
Yeah,
I'm gonna vote for this,
yeah,
but it's a split decision on
yeah,
FinCom.
yeah.
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 If it's a,
so,
6-1 decision, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna vote for this, but 6 people are voting against it on FinCom.
Right.
Just,
Yeah.
the other,
Right.
aside
Gotcha.
from the vocal people that are really upset about 72 Stowe Road, another thing I hear in this town is people not wanting the taxes to go up. And the other, it's $50 a year, but I've seen people in this town, stand up about a lot less. So are we sure that there's more people
I'm
that
just not
are
sure.
going to
I'm
be
just
more
not
mad about
sure that-
72 Stowe Road than the
But 72
tax?
Stowe Road is cheaper, but once you get into all of the potential delays and risks and issues, I just don't think it's going to be cheaper.
And I'm gonna say one thing, and this needs to be the change in conversation. People don't want their taxes to go up. People in this town have been extremely lucky for years. The last major infrastructure construction we did was a library. Then we funded the school, all right, but that wasn't in our town. The select board that I was on managed to get a DPW building for $2 million,
'Cause
which
they
was
just left.
millions of dollars less than would have been, and we needed to build a new DPW. We do not need a new police station, we need to expand it, fix it, renovate it at some point. So the only major, I understand people don't want their taxes to go up, but it's not like we've been hitting them with $20 million projects every 5 years,
Yeah.
with a lot of towns are.
Yeah, I just think the
we-
people who don't live in the 72 Stowe Road area that are not raising their voice about that, I think there's a lot of people in town who are going to say, why are we going to spend $2.8 million just so that this small group of people doesn't,
It's not
get-
just that, though. It is the Mass Ave, there's a lot of other, factors as well, but that is a big part of it. Not gonna lie. All things being equal, that is a big part of it.
Shell?
I have one question. I'm ready to vote. Maria, what is the cost of delay? You mentioned it.
$4,000 a day.
how was that calculated? Was it 30
$4,000
million?
a day for litigation fees, or $4,000 a day, day over day, where we don't have a fire station?
that.
That one, the latter.
Got it.
Yeah. That's calculated based on I think it's the escalation percentage, which is somewhere around a 5% escalation in a year. And then you just basically take, okay, if it delays us a year, you take it, this is gonna be the delay.
Oh,
and you
$30
divide it
million
by.
project is now
Yeah,
30
I'm doing
million
it.
times
Yeah.
5%
Yeah.
divided by 365.
So when we
Gotcha.
started this project,
Mm-hmm.
we were, Mary Brolin has the numbers, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
just gonna say we were at somewhere less than $20 million, and now it's a $30 million project. So, and so.
I think that $4,000 a day was calculated before the whole tariff thing came down.
Well, the tariffs aren't even playing a part in this, right?
Yeah.
Because we can't bet on, quite frankly, someone who can't make his mind up on tariffs.
I'm just saying, those
You know,
those numbers are
The
before
tariffs
the
are supposed to
shakeup.
hit, and then we pull them because, we decide to invade a country. So we can't base budgets on insanity.
Yeah.
So tariffs are not part of this.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, shall we vote?
And the delay we had from fall town meeting to now is already another, 5 months, 6 months? So that's
Yep.
already another,
yeah, the delay from last May, $4,000 a day.
yeah.
Yep,
Okay then, we'll do a roll call vote, because we're partly remote.
yep.
Michelle? The vote
Sorry.
is, an aye vote will be to support the purchase of, was it 989?
984.
984 Mass Avenue.
Before we start voting, sorry to interrupt, are we going to vote on 72 Stowe Road right after this? Or are we taking one vote?
We're taking one vote.
There's one motion
So
on the
this is
table.
But the motion is, the preferred option is 984 Stowe, Mass Avenue. That is the FinCom believes that's the best option.
And we're voting for or against.
Yeah.
Should I start?
You vote yeah.
Ryan, no.
Grab and I.
Stolpen, no.
Neil and I.
Newton, aye.
Connor, no.
You guys are killing me.
No.
No, I'm sorry, no.
Okay, FinCom's 3-3. One of you needs to write if that truly is gonna be a recommendation next week, if we decide on 984, somebody, and I will let you know, I will send you an email, and you're gonna vote that way. Somebody needs to vote a dissenting opinion, for the warrant.
I can start it.
Wow, I did not expect that, I'm gonna be honest, but that's fine.
You trained us well.
Apparently,
That's what we're
I'm
here
an
for,
idiot.
to not just blanket agree.
yeah, that's fine, that works. So,
Yeah.
all right, so that's on the property. Are we gonna split the vote on design funds, or is it just the property? Once the property's voted, we're all in favor of design funds?
Whatever we're designing, I'm in, but
So should we do a formal vote on design funds? Let's do that.
I mean, straw poll is fine, I just,
Yes.
okay.
so whatever the
Yeah.
design funds are, they are,
Oh,
so
yeah.
that's okay.
We've got to
Yeah.
design a fire station no matter where it is.
Okay,
Design is great.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, do you have what you need for this? Do we have what we need?
I guess so. So I guess the question would be, would the vote be the same if it was 72 Stowe Road? That would be a question I would ask. Because we have a no, 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 would that conceivably mean you'd be yes, yes, yes? I would be a no at Stowe Road,
I'd be a no.
and so that's,
I'd be a yes today. Based on
At
what
Stowe
I read.
Road.
Yeah.
okay, and so Kevin, it's up to you. No, it's not, it's just I'd like to understand.
Yeah, yeah, I
vote-
mean, I guess
vote
I would
no
say
to
no
both
on
of
that
them.
one.
You would say
What do you
no.
have in
So it would be the same vote.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just
so we're
flip-flop.
split on the properties.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be an interesting conversation.
Okay.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Wait, yeah, I
That's
mean,
okay. That's okay.
No, this is good. This is a good thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
Besides
can we
making your
see
life
more
much more
information?
difficult, Marie,
You're taking
is
this
a good
vote
thing.
because you need to take it back
Yeah.
for
So,
this week.
tell
I
me-
don't think that's fair. No offense, that's a strong statement. I would like to see the presentation, that you've got it down to 2, and now you're asking us to choose, right?
Okay, so
So-
tell me what you want to see.
I want to see the dimensions that we've been trying to get from you all laid out next to each other. The rubric that you guys are going through
So-
to establish this process. That, I think, is it not a fair request? I don't want to make work for people.
Well, this has to go in, right? This warrant has to go in.
Yeah, we're voting it on Thursday night, and then this committee's gonna re-vote, the final vote, and then it's due the next day to town. meeting.
Right, so we haven't got, you can't revote, you can't, well, we're not, our recommendation can change at town meeting, I suppose, can't it?
We're not gonna,
No,
oh, our
that's the thing-
recommendation
that's
can
the thing,
change,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the
Yeah.
preference would be to try to get it in there the way we want it to be in there.
Yeah.
This is primarily my recommendation to you to bring back the fire station building committee. Once that comes down, if they change it, I might, maybe I would support 984 if that's what you all decided and change my vote on the floor. As a FinCom member to recommend to you to bring back the fire station building committee, I
So,
think it's, that's where I'm
so
coming from.
Thursday night, the Fire Station Building Committee recommends that we go with 984. Next Tuesday, you think you'll be still no vote?
I'd like to hear I'd like to hear the
Yeah.
entire input
Yeah,
of the
I
fire
would-
station committee.
I would be an open book again at that point,
Okay.
based on,
So can I
Yeah.
ask you guys to watch the meeting on Thursday? It is really hard. We have hundreds of thousands of pages of documents that we've been looking at that are all on the website. I mean, I'm happy to send you the matrix we did, but
But did you do it for these 2 exclusively, or?
we did the matrix for we have one that has 50272, the Lions property, 984, and 1300. That shows all the
alright.
properties. We can show you that, which weighs it out. And again, I will tell you the truth. The matrix has 72 and 984 within a few points of each other. But it's not just all of the basic zoning, butters, that kind. There's all these other things that go into it, and mostly,
does the matrix have complaints from neighbors in it?
yeah, that's on there.
Yeah?
So
So with that, the fire station building committee still puts them
yeah,
right up against each other.
yeah, yeah. I
Says
mean,
a lot.
it is, and I think if you guys, I would tell you to watch the October 16th meeting where the woman stands up at that microphone and threatens to sue us. And you've got to understand, a lot of us have been doing this we've been doing this for a year, and we have been literally being bullied by abutters. And I understand they don't want a fire station, so I'm not trying to be unsympathetic to their concerns about their neighborhood, but it is just constant. So when you take that on top of everything else and all the hidden costs that are there that we're hearing about, that's how I got to, Stowe Road's not worth the effort. It's not worth the money to save. Because it won't save us money. I think it'll be just as
Okay,
expensive.
well, that's a
if not
different
more.
statement, though. I mean, that makes,
but
Yeah.
we don't have any proof of that. That's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, on paper, we're getting $2.8 million more, but then we think it won't cost any more because of the or whatever else
Well, I
happens.
mean, but, right.
So
but
like,
that's-
based on this number on paper, I'm 100%
Well,
like,
it's $2
you know.
million, it's a $2 million more. It sounds like a more certain number than Stowe Road's $2.8 million.
No, but I
less.
asked Maria that exact question, are her
Yeah.
estimates on these confident? And she said yes.
Well, it's all stuff that you can't, it's all the unknowns that
That's
you
the
don't know
problem.
about.
Right.
You know,
So
that's the
my
risk.
numbers are,
risk-
I'm confident in
Yeah,
the numbers
yeah.
that are on
There's a
paper.
risk
It's
assessment.
all of the
Yeah.
other
No.
stuff. And I think when you look at the risk assessment,
Right, it's
for
not just
me,
the-
that's
I
why.
hear you, Maria, I hear
760
you. So
legal.
I think to Joe's point, I mean, I think one more week of you guys seeing you discuss this at the committee, then having us vote next week would be a fair ask.
If you guys can get on this
Well,
meeting,
when's the warrant go in for printing?
goes in, hold on, I have it. So we meet, the final FinCom vote, oh, well, so we're meeting on the 26th. FinCom, our final vote, it says we don't need to have it until the 20th.
Okay.
But we're hopefully,
So tonight you wanted to take back to the fire station?
I need
okay.
something to say to the fire
So,
station. I want them to know.
almost the sense
that-
of the FinCom meeting.
So yeah,
Census-
so the sense of the meeting is we're a little bit split, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're a
So
little verklempt.
What I would
We
ask
need some
is.
more feedback on the legal aspect of it.
What I would ask is that you guys watch our meeting on Thursday night, and we could post a quorum for that, just, you can even ask questions if you want, but to watch our meeting on Thursday night, because we will have
It's too late
the
to post a-
discussions.
Too late to post a quorum now, I think.
No, you can, I still, it's just a quorum, I think you can post a quorum now, can't you? Susan, do you think?
For Thursday
A
night.
quorum for Thursday night? It's not a meeting. I just would say you're not gonna call us to order. It's a quorum, a notice. I think you can. And it's possible,
We can just listen in, can't we? I mean, that's.
you're just listening, and it's
We
possible
don't,
that,
you don't say anything.
It's on BXB-TV, right? So I don't have to
Yeah.
zoom in.
What
and
ti-
have my
what
name
time
there
are you?
and just listen.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
We have an executive session at 7 o'clock, so it will be after the executive
Is it on
session.
Is it recorded?
It is recorded,
Okay.
so last night's meeting was recorded.
Okay.
It
I
is
have
on TV,
Okay.
yeah.
I have
It's on
sustainability.
TV.
Yeah.
Don't pay
Thursday,
attention
so-
for quorum.
So it's not this, it's not.
It is hybrid,
Okay, yeah.
but it is also on demand, and it is, it's
Recorded.
recorded, and it's
Okay.
probably on TV. So it says, actually, here it says warrant to printer is on February 6th.
Okay. So we've got time, if we do want to change a vote, we can
Yeah.
change a vote.
Yeah, so if you can listen, and if you feel that you want Mary to come, I could see if Mary can come next Tuesday night. I will go in tomorrow night or Thursday night with We're Divided. But, and then, like I said, I'd love to be able to, I'm gonna do my recommendation.
We're not diametrically opposed. We're kind of all just,
The problem is,
you know,
it's,
like right there in the middle. Just
it's
step in different
difficult, because, from a FinCom perspective, I don't disagree with you guys. It should be a bottom line numbers, but I do believe, my experience is telling me it's just not gonna go away.
Yep.
And so there's all these other hidden costs, so.
Okay, great. That was fire station, what's next?
Going home and having a drink, is that next?
School committee, so, John, you have anything from school committee? Have you, any more updates for us from school committee?
Well, so they've decided to eliminate all but 2 of our original 9 options, 13 options. And the 2 options that remain are the same projected cost savings of roughly 1.9, roughly call it 1.9 million for both, even though I don't really understand how that is.
which option numbers are they?
I have that. So the last phase was, there were 4 options total. It was 3V2 and option, I'm gonna call it 4. Those were kind of the old school versions, and then the new, kind of the org versions were the option 6 and option 5V2. So the last meeting, 3V2, and I have the details on what those exactly are, and option 6 were eliminated, leaving us option 4, which is, I'm not going to say status quo, but it's kind of the original methodology that we have for schools, and 5E2, which would be kind of a restating of the school district, if you will, approach. So both of those options are roughly 1.8 to 1.9 million in annual savings. They're meeting this week, today's the 6th, right? Yeah, so on the 8th and probably the 20th, 22nd to vote and final. I think this meeting will be a further discussion, a lot of public comment. There was a lot of public comment in the last meeting. What else? I mean, I just have a few questions on, just for Blanchard, in terms of if, and from a management perspective, from the team perspective, from the senior leadership team, option 5E2 seems to be solidly their first choice, quite frankly. They seem to.
Which is what? Can you describe that?
Yeah, let me, I'm gonna have to go to my notes, but I will. So option 6, if you remember, was the 3, eliminating all, not eliminating, but combining, going from 5, 6 schools down to 3 buildings and 3 schools. So basically completely restructuring the whole program. The problem with that is it left Blanchard with left the 2 Acton schools with very large schools, their populations, basically 1,000 in each of the Acton schools. So the twist of that, or the 5V2 version of that, basically changed that to banding in the 2 Acton schools. So there will be 3 buildings, 5 schools. So 1 building, 1 school being Blanchard, and the 2 other buildings, the new buildings, and then the 2 hybrids within each of those Acton buildings. So the hybrids being 1 through 3 and 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the 5V2.
Yeah.
And that's the one that you think is favoured by...
That is most definitely, not, I think it is,
Yeah.
period.
It is, yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
overwhelmingly so.
Yeah.
Very
By the
much so.
administration.
So I know the least about the
Yeah.
school stuff, having I think
Yeah,
Michelle
I mean-
and I guess now
Yes.
I have a cohort of not having kids in school. Choice is out.
So I think that's kind of, that's gonna depend on how they implement it. I think that's still going. I mean,
That's the biggest sticking point right now.
I do think right now that might be their
That is
biggest sticking.
about,
So-
because they're
so-
gonna close Kona, and it's how do they redistribute to kids?
As
Yeah.
someone who is very uninvolved in schools, that's the one thing I've heard the most.
That is
So is
the
it choice or is it
biggest
geographic?
sticking point.
I mean,
Geography, just stick them all in one school, how do they redistribute all those kids?
I don't see how it's not geography. If you're trying
Tremendous sticking
to
point.
say that we're gonna, this is a new school, we're level setting, or we're gonna,
So, yeah, the culture's gone, right? There's no...
yeah, that's a harsh way of putting it, but it's like, if this is an opportunity for,
You're
starting.
resetting the culture.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Kind of, let's try
There might
something
be
new
those
across
who-
the board.
There might be those who prefer to be in a smaller school like Blanchard.
Mm-hmm.
Those
And all
are the
those
biggest-
Acton kids that are already at Blanchard,
Yeah, I
pull them
mean-
out, or do you just redistribute only Acton
I mean-
kids? It's,
Yeah.
I just think if you're not doing it from a geographic perspective, and you're trying to set up, well, this school's gonna be like this, and this school's gonna be like this, we're kind of going back to where we came from, right? So, that's gonna be a big decision, and I don't think they've got there, I don't think they're anywhere near that yet, so.
No, I
Thoughts,
think
anybody
that's
else? I'm
okay.
sure you're
I think
following
that's a
closely.
bigger sticking point than which option they're trying to still,
Yeah,
I think the 5v2 is just, they're going there.
Yeah,
It's just how
yeah.
do they execute it?
So when do they vote on this finally?
I believe it's gonna be the 22nd.
Yes, of this month, that date's right. I do think that for years, there's been this question of, do we get rid of choice? But it's gonna be difficult, because the people who go to Merriam and McCarthy Town have a definite view of how they want their education, which is different. Their structure is different than a Blanchard.
So before the question of choice, it's going to be, how are you going to distribute the educational philosophy across
Right.
the 3 schools?
Right.
Because if you have the same philosophy, choice is irrelevant.
Right,
But they
but
don't.
that's the question, and that's where they're gonna get a lot of pushback from the Merriam and McCarthy
Yeah,
Town
like I
parents.
picked that school for
because-
this reason.
I
Right.
just think the way
It-
you phrase choicing is a little bit strange. It's almost like, I just want to go to the closer school. I want to choose a school because it's,
That's what their school, that's what the school choice is in Acton, right?
Okay.
I wanna go because I want that philosophy. And it's different, and every school is different, So I think, but there's not enough Merriam, McT kids or people who want that kind of teaching to fill a building of 900 kids. That's the
That I
problem.
don't know. Is that,
Yeah, Miriam,
yeah.
they have the lowest enrollment.
Miriam has the lowest enrollment.
Okay.
McT is the second lowest. So, I mean, if you think about those kids in those schools, there's like 400 kids, 300 kids in each school. That's not enough to make to make the Parker Damien that,
Full.
teaching model. So I think that's where I think some of it is, and the rest of, and I do think they're trying to decide, does the choice make sense? And that's a conversation that Boxborough is not used to,
No.
right?
And
Because we didn't have choice up until
Well,
we regionalized.
Yeah, and the other thing they've said too is the junior high teachers have said, since we regionalized and all the kids are going everywhere and the whole school choice, it is much less distinct to them which kids went where. Whereas
I heard the
before,
opposite.
yeah, I know, which is what makes it even more confusing. But I heard before they could always tell, and now they can't tell as much.
I could always tell with my kids,
Yeah.
when they went to the junior high and they made Acton friends, I always
Yeah.
knew who went to Miriam because they would say, "Hey, Maria," and they were in 7th grade, "Hey, Maria, could I have a lemonade?" And then all the kids that went to the traditional schools were like, "Mrs. Nealon." And so I would and I love these girls. They're still my daughter's best friends. They were in her wedding. And I literally looked at one of them and I'm like, "So you go to Miriam?" And she goes, "Yes, I loved Miriam."
How'd
Yada,
you
yada,
know?
yada, yada. Right? Because, so
Yeah.
it's one of those things. It's different.
So what is your opinion on school choice?
Actually, it's hard for me because we regionalized. My kids were in an elementary school. I loved Blanchard. I love the traditional. So even
Yeah.
if I lived in Acton at the time, I would be in a more traditional setting.
Yeah.
My children still refer to my very close friends as Mrs. They don't call them by their first names because I say to them, they're my friends, not yours.
Exactly.
And they say, "I'm 30. I don't care. They're my friends, not yours." So they still use Mr. and Mrs. to everybody.
So, actually, what was going to, so here's a question though. So let's say they come up with, they're going to, hopefully, I think they should start from scratch. I'm just like, look, you've got 3 different models. And also, I would think that would be, again, the financial person speaking here. To have 3 different styles, you have to have 3 different programs, and you have to have 3 different, when you get the math lesson, you're buying a different math lesson 3 times over.
They
That's-
say they don't, but I think they have to. I mean, it's so
Exactly.
different.
That's not as cheap as buying the same math lesson and the same writing lesson and the same foreign language lesson, right?
Right.
And there's no way it's going to be as efficient if you, again, have 3 different teaching styles going on through 3 schools,
Right.
3 buildings.
That's a question to ask, I think, isn't it? I'm not sure whether it's true or not, really.
I think it's true now. Because I know they had
different
different
materials?
math programs.
Yeah.
Because I know Jack or Grace was on I think an experimental one in Blanchard for a while, and so I know they have different math programs.
Math has been experimental since my kids were there.
Exactly.
My kids were
Exactly.
there for what, 6 years?
Same.
3 different math courses
My kids
within
are
the
2
6 years
apart,
for each
and
one
we're
of them.
getting
It's
2
crazy.
different things because they're always trying a new curriculum.
So my question is, if they, let's just say the Acton side says, we're gonna start from scratch. Is Boxborough included in that equation? I hope it is,
Yeah, should be, yeah.
but isn't
Yeah.
there some type of
Meaning if we have
school district
Boxborough
thing?
kids
What does
going
the-
to
what does the
Acton,
agreement
So if
limit?
it's geographic, then it will be all the Blanchard kids come back to Blanchard. All the
Nope.
Boxborough kids come back to Blanchard. There was something in the regional agreement when we first started for the first 5 years.
oh, the hometown, right?
The hometown guarantee. But when we wrote that, we said for 5 years, there's no flexibility. At the end of 5 years, we would allow the school committee some flexibility, but the spirit of it is that there would be a hometown guarantee.
Okay, I hope it goes geographic, that just seems to be the most logical way of doing it. But my question is there anything in the agreement that would say that Boxborough gets to maintain its own teaching philosophy independent of what Acton and?
No, there's nothing about curriculum in the agreement. It is
Okay.
strictly, we would have a school, and we made the mistake of not saying elementary school, so if we ever reopen the agreement, that'll be clarified, but a school in Boxborough, and for the first 5 years, it was a guarantee, ironclad guarantee of a hometown guarantee, and then after that, it was the Boxborough kids would get preference to Blanchard.
Okay, so,
So if they did geographic, they would need to pull all the Boxborough kids. And then this doesn't include anyone that has any special needs. Those kids go where the programs are, right? So that is kind of outside of this. They would pull all the Boxborough kids back. That's how I understood it
Yep.
when I watched the meeting, and all the Acton kids would go.
Well, would geographic mean distance or town by town? Because
No, it
aren't
would
there
be-
like some people in Boxborough that might live closer to an Acton
It would
school
have to
or
be,
vice
I
versa?
don't know how they would do it, so it's because,
Definitely some sort of zone, right? Because
right,
both the schools in Acton are extremes of Acton.
right, because
Yeah.
like if you go to
Yeah.
North Acton, there's not a school,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
where those
They
kids
would
would
just
go.
have
So they got to sort of draw some sort
They
of
would
line
have to zone
somewhere
it
and say,
according,
Right.
yeah. You could
Yeah.
be 10 feet from this school, but
yeah,
the rest of town is like
yeah.
100 feet from, so they
Yeah.
they all gotta go there.
Yeah.
I hope that's done
Yeah, I saw that growing up too.
by physical
School,
distance
like,
of
10
some
feet from my
sort,
parents' house, like,
and
across
not
town, because
having 3 different
all the
school
other kids,
programs.
The rest of the town had to go.
Okay,
So
that's that.
that's where we are.
And then the budget update. So there's a the budget meeting for the school is going to be the Monday after budget Saturday.
Capital
Yeah,
Saturday.
Capital Saturday, yeah.
So we're all invited to that. So
We
we're
are all
looking forward
invited to that, and I think that at least a few of us need to go because they
Yeah.
changed
Yeah,
the
I'll go.
date. So.
Because what?
They changed the date for us, because
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
be
of course.
Saturday, and they changed it to be
Yeah.
Monday,
So
so
yeah,
with,
so it'll be February the 9th. So
Yeah.
well, I'll go definitely.
And I'm sorry, what is that? The
that's
school
their
committee
budget workshop.
Budget
Now,
review. It'll be shorter than normally. It's usually a whole day on a Saturday, right?
oh God, it's a whole day on a Saturday, and it makes our budget, it actually is hours longer than our budget Saturday. Cannot tell you,
Yeah.
it's
Well, it must be
painful.
now you're doing one evening, so it's got to be compressed, right?
Yeah, I would think it's gonna be like 2 to 3 hours tops.
And it
Yeah.
is Monday evening, like
Yeah,
set-
it's Monday
Monday
night, yeah,
evening, yeah. Like 7 o'clock or something.
yep. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but we'll get the agenda.
Yeah. But we should all put it on our calendars so we know.
And you should, post a quorum notice for
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Okay, next thing is calendar 25 annual report. I'm still working on the numbers. I'm working with Hongwa and getting the numbers straightened out. There's some discrepancies in the numbers for budget numbers and stuff, but I'm figuring out. But that's due in on the 15th, I think. So, but it's pretty close. I'll get it around to everybody when it's finalised for last checks. I did do a calendar for the upcoming meetings, which I'll actually update.
You're the one you sent out to Rajan to put on the.
That's right. Yeah,
That's the current one, yeah.
yeah. So you've all got that. So basically, meetings every week until some point when the budget's put together in March. Or
Pretty
something.
much.
Yeah. So
Meetings every week.
yeah, yeah. Michelle tells me she'll be away for some of the meetings. Is anyone else think to be away for any meetings? Because if we be business travel and stuff, we probably ought to just be aware of that because we may not have a quorum at some points, given how thin we are.
April meeting, I will be missing, I'm sure, 1 week in
Well, that's
April.
after we've put everything to bed and we're just, so
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is,
March,
Yeah, I'm out
April.
for that 17th that I mentioned, 2/17. I won't be
It's
here.
the 17th of
February.
February.
I should be good for it all.
I'm
so far.
definitely out for that.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so far good for everything, because I don't plan anything on Tuesdays from January until March.
Right.
So if I can help
Yeah.
it.
Maria knows better.
Yeah, so if I can
Yeah.
help it, so
Don't
I'm
worry.
around.
Well, I just don't, I'm not
Okay,
allowed to control my calendar.
You don't control your calendar?
Neither do I.
Okay.
Oh my God, listen to you complain.
No,
The two of you.
oh no.
I know the people who control
Oh
your
no,
calendar, you're
I
lucky.
married a planner on purpose.
Oh, okay, good.
That was on purpose.
All right, as long as you're good.
No, I am glad I don't
I'm
control my own
Okay.
calendar.
Committee reports. Michelle, do you have any committee reports?
Yeah, we're voting CPC on all of the, hold on, I'm just pulling up some notes from John. All of the draft warrant articles on Thursday this week, and I just wanted to note that John, after some chatting with the select board and a member of the FinCom who is not named, the open space and recreation plan may be funded as a separate warrant article from free cash rather than the conservation trust fund. So there's two versions of Article 1, one for 10K and one for the original 25K up for discussion on Thursday. So TBD on how that turns out.
So that makes sense.
John?
Just a real brief for the Water Resources Committee. They just sent along their annual report, talking about how they did the water line extension in the Weston and Sampson report. They talked about how, we have enough water for the foreseeable future. Let me see, was there anything else in there? And just that we're talking to neighboring towns about, we joined them in a joint application for a grant to fund a study for drought resiliency in the future. So hopefully that can inform future plans for water planning for the area. But otherwise, nothing really else from the Water Resources Committee right now. And I think I mentioned before, a lot of times their meetings conflict directly with ours. And so I always have to kind of backtrack and catch up on those. Nothing else from Recom at the moment, and sustainability is Thursday, so I'll have a report on them next week.
Right. Joe?
Nothing new, all quiet, except what Michelle mentioned, which I had emailed you about, the open spaces plan that Mike Johns had actually at the Capital Committee meeting discussed. And just, I'll read my note from him so I don't paraphrase it wrong, but he had said, just so everyone else is on the same page, that they discussed this at the Capital Committee. There was $20,000 in the conservation capital request for the open spaces recreational plan and $30,000 in the planning department for the same. So he discussed with Alec, who's going to apply for $30,000 matching grant from regional partners, and then leaving $30,000 in planning, which will cover the whole request. So basically, the extra that the Conservation Committee was asking for at CPC shouldn't be needed. So it sounds like they've now adjusted, and they have two versions of that. The lower number, I think, is what makes sense because it's covered elsewhere. The one thing that's not clear to me is that grant a guarantee? He's applying for a grant. That doesn't necessarily mean we have it. So that's the only part that's not clear. I did email Liz, the chair of the Conservation Committee, just to make sure she was looped in on that and get her take on it. But as far as I can see, it seems like there's no need for that request at the higher level, and it should just be reduced back down to the 10K.
So the 30,000 in planning is actually a warrant, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
it's a warrant. So if there's also a grant and there's extra money, normally we do those warrants for the full amount and say, $30,000, $60,000, 30,000 of which we're hoping to fund through a grant. If we do, we won't take the money because it's coming out of free cash. So that's usually how you do it.
Yeah, that might be how they're doing it.
To guarantee so.
But, from our end, if they come to us with the higher level, we know they don't need it, we can vote accordingly, but it sounds like it's covered, so I'm happy either way.
I have nothing. You guys heard me talk about the fire station.
John, anything else? No?
Yeah, school committee was.
Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call to adjourn. Michelle?
Ryan, I.
Grav and I.
Stolpen, aye.
Neil and I.
You and I.
Connor, aye.
Thank you all.
Good night.
How are you guys?